Welcome to Mall Management Beyond Emails and Spreadsheets webinar. My name is Denis Ivanov. I am the CEO and founder of Ordian. I have 10 years experience in digital facility management transformation for more than 10 million square meters portfolio. I am the founder of Ordian Startup. Ordian is a platform that helps companies in commercial real estate raise more revenues and automate facility and property management. So yes, part of you now know how to ask questions and notify that there are some glitches with the sound. So please use the chat on the bottom of the page and YouTube chat to ask questions because this is the live webinar. Just a couple of words about Ordian. So Ordian is a property and facility management platform automation, digital platform, which helps commercial real estate landlords to communicate with tenants using the mobile app for the tenants, where all the tenants file issues, communicate with the property and facility management team. Also, Ordian has a web portal where everybody works, where we have pieces of software we call modules for every area of shopping mall management, like preventive maintenance, reactive maintenance, incident reporting, lease management, and so on. So, and last but not least is our mobile app for the manager and technicians, which allows them to complete all the work orders on the go, confirming with NFC tags for internal navigation inside the building and photo validations for all the works completed. We have vast variety of blocks of the software, which you can install in your building according to your needs. Our blocks cover, first of all, the facility management with, as I mentioned already, reactive maintenance, preventive maintenance, inspections, mobile app, NFC tags, and so on. Property management block, which helps with lease management, payments tracking, and collecting turnovers for the shopping malls from the tenants using the web interface or cash machines connected. Of course, we have a block dedicated to tenants communication with services marketplace, parking management, and residence mobile app. And with the help of our partner Hyperate, we provide smart buildings integration and building information models integration. Of course, we have an API which allows to connect any third-party software quite easily to us. And our typical customers are office building landlords, rental apartments and residential landlords, facility and property management companies, and shopping malls. Well, shopping malls form around 30% of our customer portfolio. That is why me and my team decided to share our thoughts and share our experience in mall management software integrations. So if we first have a general overview of what type of software is used inside or for mall management, we can find three main groups, which are property management software, which is like operations for lease management, facility management. This is our focus today. Also, we have marketing and customer engagement software. This type of software helps management team to attract customers and to retain them and to get more revenues for the tenants. And also there is a digital signage there, like loyalty programs, lots of them. And last but not least is a security and access control software, which deals with safety and security inside the building, because the mall, it's a public area and public areas should be safe. So this type of software, this group of software includes video surveillance systems, access control systems, incident reporting, and integrations with fire alarm systems and other security measures. Today we'll talk about property management software, which includes lease management systems, maintenance management, communicating with tenants, and financial management. This is not a surprise for me and for you, because this is areas which are covered by our software, by Ordian. This is the area where we have the most of the experience. And This is the area, unfortunately, where lots of outdated tools are used by the property management teams in the retail areas, in the retail facilities. We have maintenance management, and very often I can see that maintenance technical teams, they use Excel spreadsheets for preventive maintenance planning. They use some papers and numerous internal messengers chats where they file work orders. And the problem of the messengers is that the information there is not structured, and it's absolutely impossible to search and qualify information there like for 3 or 4 months ago. So you have only the track for the last couple of days, and all the information is lost. And making reports of messengers is like a huge headache. Again, we have like tenant communications, the same messengers, emails. So you see, you have more messengers on your phone, and you should keep in mind which chats are internal and which chats are outbound, which are available for tenants. Always keeping in mind, keeping the good language for the tenants, and sometimes not good language for a team, which is not good. And of course, there's the phone calls, personal tenants visits, unexpected tenants visits, and so on. And lease management, again, spreadsheets, emails, collecting revenues from emails, and numerous of phone calls. This leads to stress. This leads to stress and to unsatisfied tenants, and the lack of effective communication often leads to confusion, but this is emotions. And if we talk about the figures, we will see that according to the latest research of McKinsey and Harvard Business Review, the hidden costs of outdated tools lead to loss of staff time, around 30%. Communication breakdowns with tenants leads to lower revenues, around 7%, and profit loss around 15% for poor decision making and missed opportunities because of the data coming not in real time. Sometimes you see reports which show you the data around as a landlord will show you the data with 6 months or 1 year 1 year old, and it means that this data is already outdated. So okay, when a landlord and a mall management team decides to digitalize their operations, and there are basically 3 options available. If we're talking about facility and property management software, you have, as a landlord, 3 options. Either you can buy your software for your own and provide access to your facility management supplier to operate as a user. The other option, which is also attractive, when you create a tender for attracting a supplier, and in the tender clause you said that the supplier should provide a software. Also an option. You don't have to pay for this. It's in the budget of the supplier. And there's a third option when you have your own software for facility management, and you have and the supplier has its own software, and you make integrations between them. So which one to choose? This is the critical question. So let's have a look at pros and cons of each approach for the mall landlord and for the facility management supplier. So the first one, this is the most popular options, to be frank. So most of our customers were in shopping malls when Audien helps with shopping malls operations is mall as landlord. So a landlord owns and buys the software, often for the whole portfolio. The main plus is that the landlord is owning the data. And why owning data is good? That the first thing is that you can easily change suppliers. You have your technical passport inside your database. You have all the history of maintenance and lease payments inside your database. And when you switch the supplier, you just close Nexus for one company and open for another. And this is going quite smoothly. Then, using your software, you can give access to the company who are tendering with you, so who are filing your commercial propositions, so they can see the amount of work they should complete, and the tenders go really smoothly, and you cut the costs because, like, the tender offers, they are more precise because they see all the history of the maintenance. The company, the supplier understands how much work he should do, so also saves you money. And you can use single tool for the whole portfolio, which leads to like general reports covering the data about all your buildings, like in single screen. Plus, if you are using your own tool, which is not obvious, but it's always like happens in similar projects in the retail, is that you can onboard tenants in your platform where they can file the turnovers, also file work orders, file any commercial requests, and so on and so on. So basically you use this tool for communicating with tenants, avoiding messengers, emails, and phone calls. What cons do we have? The typical cons is that integration takes time and money. Putting all the data inside the platform, training your employees, training your suppliers, which normally provided by the vendor like us, but still it takes money, and return on money and time, and the return on investment will be like reasonable to be expected around 3 or 5 years. But this is the only opposite side. Lots of pluses. Let's have a look at from the FAM services supplier side. When the solution is provided by the landlord, by your customer, the first thing that you think is that there's no extra costs. So you don't have to pay for the software, just use it. Normally, the vendor of the platform provides a free training for your team, so your team get more skills. They become more digitally trained. They have more new knowledge, new abilities. Of course, you use the software for the enhanced workflow, but the only issue that you can use the software only on this project. You can't use it for like other customers. So which leads to that you have with every customer you have a new tool. And there are lots of examples of such customers on the market, such companies on the market. You don't have no integrations. You can't create a company-wide report, but basically you can, but you have to do it like manually, grabbing data from different tools and putting in a single spreadsheet, and and it takes time. So basically, all the benefits of the digitalization is on the landlord side. Compared to your own tool, using your own tool, like you have zero digitalization benefits in terms of money and time. So let's see some cases. From my experience, I have a company that like a typical shopping mall. It's like a network of shopping malls, and they own software, but they understood owning in a very precise way. They said, okay, if I want to own software, I will build the software. So they hired a team of software developers, product managers, analytics, and started building their own software, which led to a huge expenses, because building software is costly. Believe me, I know what I'm saying about, because we have our own team of developers, and using this and building your own software and not like if you are not a developer, if you're not a developer company, is very costly, because like this is not your profile. You are not specialized in this, and in the end of the day, such companies turn to like professional vendors and switch their like internally built tools to their own tools. So again, owning software doesn't mean building software, like software as a service, cloud licenses, or if you want to have the software on your own server, on premises licenses are quite good, and they are like they save a lot of money compared to building your own software. And if we have a look from the property and facility management suppliers side, I know that like recently met at the conference a company here in Estonia, which is not just an Estonian company, it's a global company for Nordics and Baltics. And only in Estonia they use from 3 to 4 tools with the same features for different customers, which is interesting. But again, as I told you before, this approach has some limits. You don't spend money on the software, but you don't have like global solution. You don't have global reports, and like most of the benefits are on the landlord's side. But still, this approach can perform. This approach is good, and it totally depends on the strategy of the company. Well, the second option, when solutions is fully owned by the AFAM contractor. So we have customers who are like facility management services suppliers, and they gain lots of pluses from owning the software. First of all, normally they have a more sticky contract with the landlord, because landlord gets like reports from your software. The data is on your side. The relations between the facility management services contractor and the landlord is transparent, and which means longer contracts for the supplier. More tenders won because the mall owner sees that you have not only services, but you have a digital tool for that, for the service, which makes you more professional on the customer's eyes. You have a tool for your whole company, so you can get the reports, you can get more revenues with the same team, the same headcount. And of course, the other plus is the easy onboarding process for your new team members, because you have like knowledge database in the software, you have maintenance plans in the software, you have standard checklists in the software, and it's easy for you to gain new and more qualified team members. The minus, integration costs. You carry all the costs as a FAM services supplier. You carry all the costs of the software. And if we'll have a look from the mall side, the main benefit is that there is no extra costs. Basically, there are. And basically, if you have a look at the budget, your facility management services supplier has the costs of the software inside their budget, and basically you pay for it. But then you pay for it, but you get no benefits. Data belongs to supplier. Swapping a supplier is really a drama. If you don't have a special clause in your contract that all the data that is managed inside your project belongs to you, and supplier can like just shut down the database and you have no access for it, this is a drama, to be frank. New supplier onboarding is costly because new supplier brings on the stage a new tool, and your team has to go again through the training to get used to this tool. And the last, but again not least, thing is that you can't allow tenants inside the software. You can provide access to the tenants because the software is owned not by the landlord, but by the facility management services supplier. And you don't want to share like personal data and contacts of your customers for obvious reasons. So this is like in terms of shopping malls and any real estate. This is quite an not like often happening case, but I had experience with a Central Asian mall landlord who even had to go to court in order to swap the facility management supplier because they don't have any access to access to the database, to the software, and there was no special clause in the contract. So the wrap up here is that please, read the contracts carefully. If you have a supply contract, if you're providing your software, you should have a clause where, according to what the data in the database in a form of Excel export file or in the form of like a database dump belongs to you as a customer. So when you switch supplier, you get the data. And the third approach, which I consider The best is when the landlord and the facilities contractor, they all both have their own software, so they have all the benefits on their sides, and the only thing here which makes a question is integration costs, because if you have two different pieces of software, you have to integrate. All the modern tools, they normally have an API for integration, but still you need some job to be done to make this, and it will cost you money. But there are, like, on the bright side, there are very good cases. And one of our customers, Tbilisi Mall, they have the same approach. They both have like separate instances of Orion software for the landlord and for the facility management services supplier. And of course, there are still some integrations in terms of training the personnel and uploading data. But when the landlord and the contractor are doing the same job at once, they save a lot on the onboarding and integration, and when they use the same tool. So because integration goes automatically, they just separate projects. The contractor runs his own project and the landlord runs his own project. Some data are shared like between them according to the rules defined by the contract, and the integration costs are per one company are at least 2 times less. So this is the approach I consider the best. Of course, you can say that in this case, like the vendor gets more license fees. Yes, we do, but it's not like double. So normally there is a volume discount for such projects when a landlord and contractor get their own discounts because they have the same projects under one roof. So, what are the critical factors to consider when choosing a software? I've seen a lot from my personal experience, and the main thing that I want to highlight, which is the string number 1 in the list, is there should be the needs of your business and the features match. I've seen lots of money wasted by big companies when they just try to buy a company which provides the biggest feature list in their offer. So as much as more, everything like 3D, yes, we'll take it. B-model, yes. Smart sensors, yes, we don't have smart sensors, but we want a software. This is the worst approach. So you use only 10% of the software, but you pay for 100%. Not smart. So the main principle here, less is more. Buy only the features, only the modules that you need in your current operations that will immediately bring you value and immediately rise your revenues. And then step by step, open the next features of the software and pay for them also step by step. Second thing, which is critical and very important, is onboarding package. Here, just the opposite. The more the better. The wider the onboarding package, and to be frank, our onboarding package is around like it's compared like to 12 months of the license fees, but it worth us every penny because the quality of onboarding directly has an impact on the revenues that you're getting from the software. First of all, you need to import the data. Software without the data is like a car without a fuel. Then you should train people. People should be trained to know how to work with the software the most efficient way. Not the way they think they should work, but the way which is more efficient for them in their case. And there are lots of things under the bottom, hidden here, in terms of matching the company business practices with software features without doing any kind of programming. And this is why you should consider buying not just some general software for project management, but specifically software for facility and property management in commercial real estate. And the support should be including for your tenants, not only for the team, but for the tenants also should be included in the package. So here, the more the better. Take the fattest onboarding package and the less features. This is the critical. This is the like two main things about the success. But if you think like in advance, you think more like above the horizon, API is critical, API is critical. This software which we are investing right now, we live in the world of APIs. Every software connected with every software. Well, the API should be free in your software and should be totally, absolutely documented. So for every feature, there should be a documentation and it should be available on a website so anyone can read it. This is critical. So in terms of our commercial real estate business, it is very important to have a mobile accessibility. People don't sit at the desk. Normally, they run around the buildings, they communicate with the tenants, they fix, facility management team fixes like plumbing and fixes electricity somewhere in the basement, but there's no internet. So the mobile app should be available. It should be native. So no like adaptive solutions, because only native app can provide you ability to work with QR codes, with NFC tags inside the building to track people moving inside the building, and only native apps can work without internet. Because in lots of spaces inside the shopping malls, they don't have any internet there. So, of course, it's important that tenants should be allowed into the platform so they can communicate and with the management, the facility management, property management team, which brings additional savings. Reporting should be simple, focused, and if you need some like very like specific report, you always can use API, connect the API to your Excel spreadsheets or to your business intelligence software like Tableau or Power BI, and you get special reports. But reports inside your software should be like simple, understandable for everyone. And the support. And your software should talk in your native language. And it is also important, of course, sometimes it's not like fulfillable within like here and now when you start the software. But if your software don't have your like local language, sign as an annex to your contract and agree with the vendor to add your local language into the software so it will be comfortable for everyone. To be frank, there are much more to say about by purchasing software for a shopping mall. So we are running out of time because we have some technical issues in the beginning with the sound. But every attendee and every person who will be watching this webinar in the recording can get a full mall management software purchasing guide. It's not only covers Ordin, or it's also applicable to any kind of software. And in this guide, we are going into detail about the things I've mentioned before. So if you have any questions right now, please feel free to ask. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We normally have like one webinar per month. The next month, we will discuss with our partners, Hyperate Company, we'll discuss their integrations of artificial intelligence and machine learning into their interactive BIM model, which I consider just amazing. And we'll go through it in the beginning of June. So please subscribe, you can get the notifications first. So let's see if you have any questions coming. Again, if you are watching this video in the recording, you have the same option to ask questions using the same tools on the Ordin website and on a YouTube. We'll immediately receive your questions, or if you want to order a demonstration of our platform, you can also just drop your email in the chat or book a meeting on the top of the page here. And I would love to show you all the abilities of the Ordin for your shopping mall or for your property and facility management company. And just mentioning about our pricing, we are really affordable. Our pricing model starts from €25 per person, and it can fit any scale of the project, from small buildings to huge portfolios with like millions of square meters. As I mentioned before, we are not only a vendor, we also provide training, certification of your personnel, and full cycle of integration the software into your business or in the commercial real estate to be sure that the software is bringing you returns and bringing you more revenues. So, thank you for being here with me. Again, apologies for some hiccups with the sound in the beginning. All new technologies, they lead sometimes to small hiccups. So you have my contacts on the screen. Connect with a LinkedIn, drop a message, and I will be happy to discuss the innovations in the commercial real estate. Thank you very much and have a nice and beautiful day. Thank you.